All right, greetings, family. Welcome to the Antoni to Bo show presented by Shades of Unity. We're thankful for you coming to spend your time with us and hang and bang with us in the ways of life. If I asked you, what does Shades of Unity mean? If I asked you, what does Shades of Unity mean? I'm going to tell you usually what folks will say to me when I ask that question. They say, Shades of Unity means we're going to just talk about something about race and, getting along. And that's too vanilla. That's too generic. So I come back and ask them, well, what if you were the only person here on earth and nobody else was living? And the question was posed to you, what does shades of unity mean? I want you to think about that as we go through this journey and walking through this thing that we call life mathematics. I'm Antoni Bo. Again, thankful for you all coming and sharing your time with us. We want to continue on our conversation on rivalry versus reconciliation. 2 R words: rivalry, reconciliation. But it's something in the middle, which is a bridge that we named. It was called versus. And that bridge called versus is very important because that versus has everything to do with our choice and which direction we turn and how do we use these 2 R ingredients to work in harmony and work together, or to be at war with each other. Seem like in the earth right now, everywhere I look, when I look on social media, everywhere I look, it seems like we're using these two things as weapons towards each other. But it's really about the direction and how you use them. There's the issue. We don't look at ourselves walking as a community. Segregated, hierarchy, superiority, privileged. How is it that we all started on the same plane? Cry when we're hungry, cry when we are waste. On the same plane, but then now as we grow older, we subject ourselves unto a man-made construct that tells you that we are segregated. Do we need love? Do we need pats on our back? Do we need encouragement? Do we all struggle? Why do we choose rivalry so much? Let me ask you a question. What trophy do you think you winning? Who you beating? You're trying to use all these resources to get to an end game or an end goal. I need somebody to define to me of what. All right, you name it race. And you say that's connected unto people, but I say it's connected on competition. And since it's connected on competition, I need to know, what is the trophy, man? What is this end goal? And I tell you how foolish we act. We try to act like we are chasing or competing for this end goal or this end trophy, but the same ones that'll do that is the same ones who pay a premium every month and they got life insurance. It's a necessity. What are you doing? You're looking out for your loved ones because you know that it is 100% possibility that one day you're going to die. So if one day I'm going to die, somebody please explain to me, please show me What is the trophy that makes you grab onto rivalry so much and fight these so much and battle against these so much and have disdain against these so much and want to shame these ones so much? I'll correct you, but then I got to shame you at the end. What trophy are you winning? Always remember, everything that I'm saying at the end of the day reflects on myself. Hence, this is the Antoni 2 Bow Show. The word two is equal to that in between rivalry and reconciliation. That versus is the same thing what that two means. It's the bridge. Like I'm figuring myself out. Do you not know the first place where rivalry and reconciliation stands off at is just within yourself? It don't take nobody else. That's why we ask you the question, how would you define shades of unity if there was nobody else on the earth? Well, let's think about it. What if I told you we could replace the word shades with a word like degrees? Degrees in life. And what we would place up under development. Like I got 2 sons and I got grandchildren, matter of fact. And it's like when you have a child, let's say your child comes out 8 pounds and they get a year old, and after a year old, they're still at 8 pounds. You would be concerned, right? Because it does not appear that the child is developing. And so that's my concern in this, what we're doing with Antoni Taboshe, presented by Shades of Unity, is, matter of fact, it don't look like we're progressing, it look like we're regressing. But the danger in it is we have so much progress physically at hand, but we're regressing mentally and spiritually. We're regressing. It's almost like it's making everything too easy. And we don't have to battle, we don't got to battle for it. We don't have to fight our way through it and get exercise with it. And then we're using it to kind of boost ourselves up. It's this one drink, and it says it's better than water. There's one drink. It says it's better than water. Do you know if you turn around the bottle and look at what's the first ingredient in that drink, you know what the first ingredient in that drink will be? Guess what? Guess. Water. That's how we think. That's our mentalities. We're thinking because we're standing on the shoulders of what was before, now we're better. When literally what you stand on before is what you're made up out of. If I'm in that crib and I'm crying and getting fed and crying and getting my diaper changed, how would I grow up and then come to my parents and then tell them now I'm better? When literally than them. When I literally have to stand on the foundation of them to even be in existence. Mentally, we're digressing and we're losing. And I think we're losing because we're losing within ourselves. So I'll kind of break it down. Rivalry, reconciliation within self. So shades would represent degrees. The degrees of self, right? So you was in the crib, Then you became a toddler. Then you was in that stage. Remember that stage when you be at school taking your school pictures, and you'll lose like some of your baby teeth, and then some of your grown teeth grow in. So some of your mouth got baby some of your mouth got baby teeth. Some of your mouth got grown teeth. Look real awkward, huh? You don't never want them pictures to come out, huh? Very awkward looking in those pictures. But it's necessary. Why? Because it's part of the development, right? Then next thing we get to middle school. Next thing you know, high school. And next thing you know, you graduate from high school, and now you're a freshman in a world of 7 billion folks again. So it's shades and degrees of development within this thing, as we go. So when I ask, what does shades of unity mean? The question then would be, how do I, because remember we asked you to take this in reflection, is live life that its experience may be learned. So how do you take those degrees and study those degrees of your life? Because all those degrees are you. Every single one, from the highest to the lowest, is you. From as physicality to mentally, spiritually, all of that is you. And so how do you reflect on yourself and study those degrees and know that they're you, but then bring them into unity to where you can understand all of your shades, to where you can properly present it to someone else. But to present it to someone else properly, you got to know it for yourself. And that's the key. That's the battle. There's a lot of folks who's projecting their rivalry on others. They don't know themselves. And so they use it as a vehicle to celebrate over others because they feel lost within themselves. So this is how fallible we are. Have you ever had a thought that you wanted to, do something? Or we call it fronting. We used to call it fronting in the neighborhood, like you fronting, right? You giving off a certain image, but in reality, that's not what it is. And so you fronting, we used to say, fake it to make it, or fake it, not fake it to make it, fake it before you make it. So you fronting, you giving off the image, but that's not really where you are. I think in America right now, man, we doing a lot of faking it, and we making the faking the making. We should have confidence enough to understand in this life that whatever degree of development we are at, that's just where our feet are at. And we have to study it to the degree of what it is, because all of it is going to be important for our development. I don't want to project something that I haven't studied on myself, that has been laying dormant in me because I was scared to reflect on it and to study it, and then get into a collaboration with somebody else and now bring all that weight and place it upon them because I'm projecting it now on them, because I end up seeing what I see in them is really what I'm reflecting in myself, which I didn't reflect on. You know where's a good place you can see that? I'll tell you a good place you can see that. Good place. Your children. It's almost like you seeing a repeat. Like you get to go back to year zero and see a full-on repeat of your life in certain attributes and characteristics of it manifest itself again. which is lovely because now what you have is an experienced guide, which is who? Yourself. And you can help guide your children because when you look at them, you see yourself. And so you can help guide. Imagine you being yourself and seeing yourself with your children, but then when you correct yourself in your children, you go about it as celebrating over them as if you're rival against yourself. That's how crazy we're functioning in America right now. Would you celebrate over yourself? Or would you use your experienced self to help develop your child, which would represent a semblance of your younger self? So wouldn't I want them to succeed in that? Wouldn't I want them to do well in that? I wouldn't want to take their journey away from them because they have to walk that journey for themselves. But wouldn't I want to contribute every piece of information or a little bit of wisdom that I may have to help develop them? Because only at the end of the day with your children, you want your children to do better than you. So if that locally starts within you, that then extends to your children, if that's what you've been practicing, then somebody please tell me, how do you get outside of the house? Now all of a sudden it's up and we got smoke with everybody else. You know, when you're born into a household, you don't have choice in that. Wherever you're born, you just inherit that name. You don't have choice in that. Here it is, you're a little child growing up in whatever those conditions are. You know, all of us didn't have situations, you know, that was, you know, just and perfect, you know, balanced situations. You know, that's not life always, especially when you have to collaborate between two people. You know, it always don't work out like that. And so with rivalry versus reconciliation, you know, that versus means everybody has to make a choice. And while everybody makes a choice, the repercussions of that choice then disseminates on everybody. Don't nobody get this twisted. Don't mistake this. I'm for chastisement and correction all day long. But like I say, moreover, you can chastise me all day long as I know you love me. I don't want to hear it if you're just doing it to celebrate. But if you love me, you're really looking out for me, and I ain't talking about just to get a vote. Talking about you really love me. Because from what reconciliation, the estate or establishment of what is good at the beginning that maybe I fell off of, and you want to reestablish, you're doing it for that reason. You ain't doing it to get a vote out of me. You're not doing it because I'm part of America and I'm struggling and all you care about is looking good, so you want to make sure I ain't making you look bad. I'm over here drowning. I'm over here dying. If you really got a lifeline to throw at me, then understand what I need. You're gonna have to know how much I weigh. Don't know how tall I am. You're going to have to know how rough the winds are, how rough the waves are. There's going to have to be a lot of strategizing and learning what is my climate or within myself and the conditions that's outside of me. if you're really trying to throw out a lifeline. If you're not willing to do that, then why are you talking? You want to show off that shiny trophy in your case. Like you done figured this thing out. Like you have no failure. Like you have no lacking in your life. You know, my mother used to make food. You come in the house and you be real hungry and you be outside playing. I remember we used to be on the block and we used to be playing football in the street. Y'all used to play football in the street? We have cars on each side and we tackling each other into the cars and it would be tag, but some cats really think they was coming over like a strong free safety trying to knock your head off. And so we would be out there playing football in the street, and there's always some house, somebody's mother would be cooking. And you can smell the aroma coming out of the kitchen, out there on the street, right? And my mother, man, she'll be in there cooking sometimes, she'll be cooking some chicken, some fried chicken, or, she'll be cooking some spaghetti or, all, across the board. She was a real good cook. And, making some sweet potato pies and, man, right? And so we would smell it. The smell of the food would get us anticipating, right? What we're going to walk into once we do our hard work and playing outside, scoring 5 touchdowns and whatnot outside in street football. And so you would smell the food in anticipation. And then in that smell, you would try to, because the smell would be like data, right? In the data, you would try to like compute, trying to guess what it is. Because you ain't there, you're not looking at it. And so you really, wouldn't know what it was, but you would try to smell and, oh, that smells like chicken. Or, oh, man, that smells like, man, some steak. Or that smells like some spaghetti. That smells like, right? And you try to get the smell, right? And so she'll yell in there, hey, y'all get in here, time to come in, time to eat. So we like, yeah, all right, bro, because we smelling, right? We in that good. I got my little 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I'm good. I'm a Hall of Famer today in street football. Now I'm about to go feast, right? So we run, get in there, gotta go wash your face and hands, because you can't come up into the house. You ain't washed your feet and your feet too. Your face and hands. And you come in there and you try to peek in there and see what is it being cooked. And it was this one thing that she would cook. And if she cooked it, I knew it was going to top the day off. This was my trophy. It was going to top the day off. She used to make these mashed potatoes. And I think she used to, if I seen her right, she used to put, somebody correct me. Somebody go in the comment or something and correct me. I think she used to put canned milk, I think it was canned milk, in the potatoes. Canned milk in the potatoes. And then now my wife now, she throws some sour cream in there too. And it makes it real, like, white and fluffy. Just real fluffy. Like, oh, man, it was best. So, like, if I had some of that in the, I might have scored 5 touchdowns. So I might get piece of chicken, so I might get the breast because I'm the MVP. So I might get the breast. And I'm yumming, right? But those mashed potatoes was it, man. Those mashed potatoes, it was a very big comfort food. Matter of fact, it was at the top of the chain of all comfort foods. If I came in the house and if that was being cooked, it kind of didn't matter what went down. I could have had 5 touchdowns. I could have had 0 touchdowns. Life could have been grand or life could have been, it didn't matter. If those mashed potatoes was made, it built my countenance up. Nothing else mattered. And I always ended the day by eating necessity. But in that necessity, having to eat, man, I got something that I wanted, right? And so it was my number one comfort food. My number one comfort food that my mother made. I didn't understand how important that would be for me going into the rest of my life. Matter of fact, let's say this, what I'm telling you about, was probably like at 7 years old. I didn't know how important it would be coming the next year of my life when I turned 8. Because when I turned 8 years old, my whole life turned upside down at 8 years old. And the blur of my life tumbling from that 8 years old went on for 20 years. From 8 to 28 years old. For 20 years. It's like I was in a cycle of just spinning and it never stopped. And I come to understand how important was those mashed potatoes. But it means something else, though. How important those mashed potatoes was and what it would celebrate for me in my journey of going through this part of shades or degrees or development in my life. And actually me going through this is what helps me right now that I'm giving you a full, transparent presentation of myself, because I literally went through the shades of unity. I went through it. And so coming on our next episode, we're going to start diving into that subject. What is my background? What is a big chunk of my foundation that really built the character of who I am? And now understand this. When character is built within you, when knowledge is built, when wisdom is built, it has to be torn first before it can be built up. It's like when you're lifting weights, right? That weight is against you. And it has to tear your muscles down. And then while you rest after the workout, then your muscles get built back up. So we're going to dive into mashed potatoes in the sky. And we're going to talk about how a comfort food was so performative in my life for those 20 years and the ups and downs we had to go through, and how there's always hope or light at the end of the tunnel. We'll leave you with this, fam. We always ask the people a question. Can you read a book without ink and paper? They answer, no. I'll come back and say, are you sure? then they don't know what to answer because they think I'm going to say something else. They're like, well, I don't know. Then I come back and say, man, well, can a book write itself? And they say, no. I said, then who writes the book? They said, the author. So then I come back and say, can you read a book without ink and paper? They say, yeah. I said, how? They say, go to the author. I say, that's right. Remember, family, y'all got to go to the author. And the author starts right here in reflecting singularly within yourself and how to harmonize rivalry versus reconciliation. Remember to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We got so much to share with you, and we want to walk this journey with one another that we all can make it. Until next time, this is Antoni Bow, representing Shades of Unity. Peace be.